Hi, I'm GlobeStreet.com's Ian Ritter, and I'm here with Bud Pharris. He's a regional VP in Southern California with DCT Industrial. Bud, thanks a lot.
Thanks, Ian. Thanks for having me.
You guys have quite a development pipeline going on right now. Any particular projects you want to point out that have been successful?
Well, our national development platform has been, we've been doing really well. We're excited about it. The last couple of years, we've really ramped it up. Brought in some new hires and some people with a little bit more development experience. So we have had quite a bit of activity. In 2013, we'll have 9 projects break ground, totaling about 3.2 million square feet. Total construction costs, including land, of about $207 million. And in those markets, we're looking at Southern California, Seattle, Chicago, Houston, Miami. Those are kind of our hottest markets where a lot of that development is taking place.
So those are what you would call the hottest regions of the country right now?
Yes, yeah, and if you think about it from a port logistics standpoint or logistics standpoint, those are the main ports that of the U.S. that we're hitting.
E-commerce tenants, Amazon. There's tons of talk about them.
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them. They're new, right?
Yeah.
Are they really what's driving a lot of this?
Yeah, a lot of the e-commerce is, it's funny, we say new, I mean, they are relatively new. In 1994, they saw the internet growing at 2,300% a year. And they're going, I think we're onto something here. There's 16 million users. Next year, there's 36 million users. And today, there's 2 billion users on the internet.
Exactly.
So guess what, guys? This is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now these guys are looking at, commoditized products like electronics, apparel, furniture, those types of things. And so a lot of people are jumping into the mix, but Amazon is the 800-pound gorilla, if you will.
Yeah. And then any changes in the sector that you see going forward in the next year?
Yeah, the changes, it's really interesting. And I have an example, but I'll talk about what's transpired and what's going on right now is with these e-tailers and the need and the speed to get to market with logistics and the distribution, everything is becoming so much more immediate. In fact, some are making same-day deliveries, which to me is mind-boggling. I mean, I used to think it was crazy when you got something delivered the next day.
Yeah.
Now it's coming literally. If you get it in early enough, it comes same day. So as an example, there's basically 12 overnight hubs, major overnight hubs throughout the U.S. 2 on the West Coast. One is in Oakland, which is FedEx. The other is in Ontario, Southern California, my neck of the woods, which is UPS. So Nordstrom has an online brand called Hotlook, H-A-U-T-E, Hotlook. And they recently leased some space in a decent market, not Maine and Maine, not Ontario, not Fontana, but they came in and leased a 600,000 square foot building, and it's a little bit of an off location, but the odd thing was it was literally right down the street from an overnight terminal, and so that's why they had to have that space.
Yeah.
And the landlord was able to command great rent, and so it was a win-win for everybody.
Is the development community able to keep up with this fast-paced demand?
Yeah, it's a great point. There's a lot of product being built, a lot of speculative stuff, a lot of build-to-suits in the Inland Empire, which again is kind of my world I live in. There's a lot of activity. We've had a couple different projects that we've just been entitled, moving forward with construction and literally pre-leased to a 3PL, and in this one instance, we pre-leased a 652,000 foot building in basically Fontana, which is the west.
Yeah.
And literally bought the site next door, entitled that, and moving that through the entitlement process, and we've just pre-leased that as well to the same 3PL, which is a 610,000 footer.
Yeah.
So we're creating a campus for them. It's great for them. It's great for us, and that allows us to move on and build and grow our portfolio more.
Fabulous. Last question. The Panama Canal. Never heard of it.
Never heard of it. Yeah, exactly. I knew that was coming.
Obviously, a big issue.
Yeah.
How are the Southern California, the large ports there, keeping up?
So the widening of the Panama Canal is not a game changer for us in Southern California.
Okay.
Two reasons. One is 50% of all the goods that come to Southern California stay in Southern California.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
so the product stays. The other thing is you've got 21.5 million people in the Southern California area, and that has grown from 2010 to 2013 by 2.5%.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's pretty good growth in a fairly anemic environment, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying now that number is going to grow to almost double that, so like 4.3% over the next 4 years. So two things. One is you've got the great growth of the population that brings that, and then the second item is that literally the demand is there. It just continues to be there. As it relates to the actual widening of the Panama Canal, many of the other ports are putting in big infrastructure improvements, including ports of Long Beach and LA, which is the #1 port in the U.S.
Yes.
and #6 in the entire world. So that's 14 million TEUs coming through the port every year. It's a big number. Again, the growth hasn't been what it was, back in the mid 2000s, but it's still robust. And we feel like the goods will just continue to flow into the ports and into Southern California markets. So the Panama Canal is a great thing to bring bring the product to other markets, but we don't see it as a game changer. We're not really overly concerned about it.
Well, great. Thank you so much for spending time with us.
Ian, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's great.
And thanks for tuning in to SIOR Live.